So one of the first big issues that I did notice is that transportation is going to be very, very tricky for you. You obviously cannot drive.
Well, come on.
You can get a tiny car.
But, well, so, all right. So the problem, so I thought of this. I thought about like a tiny car. So, well, actually, let me just go through it. So you can't drive. You can't take the bus because I don't think you can like get onto a bus. You can't take an Uber because you can't get into the car. Like, I think that there's like a lot of like basically every means of transportation is kind of not really going to fly for you.
I mean, it's your premise, so I don't want to kill it, but you underestimate my willingness to pick up any tiny 6-inch tall man and bring him onto the bus with me. Holy fuck, that would make my day.
We'll get there. I thought about if you could like ride an animal. And I went down that path a little bit, but then I realized, and this is the same issue you get with a tiny car, I feel like any of those are still going to be so slow. You're going to be like slower than walking, like as a normal person, even if you're like, I don't know what the biggest animal you could ride is, like a ferret? I don't know. Like,
instead of exterminating the rat, you could train it.
Yeah, rats are pretty quick.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
They can go faster than walking, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe it's close, right? Like,
I didn't check if rats were going to run you down before you could pull the trigger.
I think they could probably like burst faster than walking, but like over a long period of time, they're going to slow down.
I've seen rats go pretty fast.
But that's like scurrying though, you know, that's like their panic run. So it's not sustainable. So I thought about flying in a drone, but then I realized that you can't actually make the controls small enough for you to use them, I don't think.
Okay.
So you'd have to have someone fly you around, which would be, I mean, I would totally do, because that sounds awesome. But, like, the flight time's not long, and you can't actually control it yourself, so it's not that helpful for you most of the time. So really what I realized, also, stairs are a big problem, because apparently the like standard height for stairs in the US is about 7 inches.
Oh,
so
7.5. Well, no, it's 7 by 10.5 or 7.5 by 10.
I think the max is 7 3/4 or something. I think generally like the rule of thumb is 7 by 10. 7 up, 10 across.
Okay.
So you can get up that.
you can still do it.
You can do it, but it's like every step is like scaling a fence. Like you're not going to want to do it all that much.
You don't want to have to rest after every 2 steps.
Right, yeah. And like going down, I guess going down steps is a little more simple, but a little more dangerous. So really, you kind of need to be carried by someone basically all of the time to get around in like any kind of reasonable time frame. And I realize like you that like your actual like cost of living is going to be very small because you are also very small.
You just gotta find a girlfriend who's, you know, not too picky about which is the 6-inch dimension.
So So what I realized that you can actually, so, you know, I've tried to be altruistic a couple times on this show unsuccessfully. I always turn to smuggling or making money, but I actually found a way to be altruistic this time that I think works out better for everyone. So I figure you can actually basically get into a symbiotic relationship with a blind person. Where basically you are their seeing eye tiny man, where you ride on their shoulder and just whisper in their ear things they need to be aware of. It's perfect because you can basically...
Oh, I liked it till you said the word whisper.
Well, so actually, so the fun thing is you're going to be very quiet. You're not actually, if you whisper, you will be literally inaudible. You're going to be speaking as loud as you can, and it's going to be a whisper because your lungs are very small. So you actually can't really talk to people who are like any distance away from you, I don't think, because you're just not going to be able to like project your voice far enough. So this is actually, it's perfect because you are their eyes, they are your voice, and they are your transportation and like
Everything else
aside from eyes, which they don't have. Well, I mean, they have, but not, you know, they can't see, you know, you see for them, they do everything else for you. And your payment is just like, when they get a meal, they give you like a bite and you're fed. That's all you need.
What does your shoulder perch look like? This is what I want to get into.
So
now.
I was thinking about this, and I mean, you could just hold on, but I think that's going to be really like tough for you and sort of uncomfortable for them in the long term if you're like hanging onto their ear to like for like support. I think you could get like a net, like sort of like one of those, you know, like the travel pillows that like go around your neck. Like that, but with like a cup holder you sit in.
Oh, like a sidecar.
Yeah, but on their neck.
I think you should get like a throne.
So I think the important thing is you need comfort for everyone involved, right? Like I don't want to be an inconvenience to this person.
You could do what they did in Ratatouille. You could wear like a chef hat And you could be in the chef hat, even though they're not a chef. They might be a chef, you don't know.
They could be a chef.
Yeah, just find a chef to do this.
That would be fun.
They could wear like a 2-story house hat. That would be cool.
You just live permanently on their head.
Well, not permanently. They put you down when they're inside.
So I mean, I feel like this really does, like, you know, think about just how much in their day-to-day life, suddenly, you know, you think about, like, if you have a seeing eye dog, it's very limited in the information it can actually give you. You know, obviously they're trained to, you know, tell them when they're gonna, like, walk off the street, or if there's, you know, when it's safe to cross streets, things like that. But they can't actually, like, read signs to them, things like that. You can greatly enhance their life at basically no cost to them, aside from having to carry around a tiny person all the time.
Except completely invading their personal space 100% of the time. Hope they like you.
Right. I mean, it's definitely going to be a complicated relationship. You don't want to get on... Neither of you want to get on each other's bad sides. Because the pranks that can be pulled are pretty brutal and possibly lethal.
It's gonna be tough to advertise yourself as a blind person symbiote, like, because there's obviously not like a match dating service for it. And even if there was, like, you'd have your profile picture, and what would you like put, like, not to scale, or like stand next to a penny, and then they'd be like,
I think that's the key, is that you actually make it exactly to scale.
yeah, this photo on your, if you're using an iPhone 5, this is 100% to scale.
It doesn't really help them because they're blind, so they can actually see the photo. So getting started is tricky, but I think once you develop this relationship, this is actually going to really help out both of you. And you just, like, live in a shoebox on their dresser or something.
That could probably last you your entire life, right?
Yeah, right? Or, I mean, at least as long as you have your blind person. I don't know what you do if your blind person, you know, like, passes away in the night, because I don't know how you have to live on the floor, I guess, actually, because if you're, like, on a dresser, I don't know how you get down on your own.
I mean, I think you're gonna get some parkour skills, like some rock climbing abilities. Like, you're gonna have a grappling hook, and you're gonna be able to do the thing where, like, you go into the kitchen and, like, you grapple up onto, like, the shelf, and you run across the counter and over the cheese grater, and then leap onto the fridge, and then dive across with your paper airplane and make it to the phone and knock it off the cord, and then it's hanging there, and you hit the buttons by stomping on them with your feet.
And then your tiny person voice is not loud enough to be heard through the phone, unfortunately.
Well, that's the nice thing about 911 is that you don't have to say anything. They'll come if you're just silent.
And then they will step on you accidentally in the confusion.
You're worried about getting around, but it's called falling with style.
This is true. I guess actually, when you're that small, hitting the ground doesn't actually hurt that much because you're very light. So maybe you can just, like, jump off the dresser and, like, roll.
I don't know if that is accurate.
That's the reason that, like, ants can fall so far. It's because, like, they have so little mass. I guess it's probably not quite the same scale. But all right, disregard that part. You will totally die if you fall off a dresser. Major downside of this lifestyle.
Actually, I don't think you will, because I think you don't, because you're so small.
I see, but how small are you? Like,
you're not that small, but, like,
So a dollar bill is 6 inches long.
okay,
So you're the length of a dollar bill.
that's pretty small. Okay, important question. Did somehow none of us figure out how heavy you would be if you were only 6 inches tall?
I said a little bit less than a pound.
Oh, you did? Okay.
It was important for my jetpack question.
Oh, right, you're right, in the jetpack. Okay, all right. So maybe you'd be okay.
If you had a jetpack, you'd be fine.
If you had a jetpack, you'd be fine. I guess jetpack should include in all of these answers just for safety's sake.
General rule of thumb, if we do not add the word jetpack to a question answer, listeners, just mentally add it yourself. It's just going to make everything better.
Just assume jetpacks.
We're here for your enjoyment, so when we talk about it raining food, just imagine it's raining food and it's meatballs, but I have a jetpack. So my day's pretty good.
When you said that, for some reason I thought you were going to say the meatballs had jetpacks.
Oh my god, that's even better!